The Inner Sanctum presents the Wednesday Whip Around.
Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of the Whip Around. My name is Anthony Alessiani. I'm back this week. It's good to be back on the Whip Around because I have missed all of our viewers and I'm sure they have missed me too. And I've got three very special guests joining me this week. They all were basically at my heels wanting to join this week's edition because there's so much to talk about. And the guy that's always in my DMs on a regular basis for the Whip Around, it's Thomas Gratton. Gratz, welcome aboard to this week's edition, mate.
Hey, I have not been on the Whip Around for at least a fortnight.
You haven't, but you knew I was coming back and you thought, oh, hello, Anthony. I might jump on board. And speaking of another one that has been on the Whip Around on a regular basis, Maddie Irwin, how are you?
Yeah, good. I haven't been on for a fortnight either, so just putting it out there.
I love how the fortnight length seemed to be a long time. It's not. It's 2 episodes. Come on, you two. Speaking of someone else that has been on quite regularly lately, Kristen, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. And thank you for allowing me to come back. Obviously, I did half a good job.
No, you did a very good job in my absence. And I thought, well, this time we'll be on together. So it's good to have all of you on this week. And it's been a very special week for sport, in particular with ANZAC Day and footy and across the weekend, a lot of celebrations across all sports as well. But in particular, Essendon versus Collingwood on Monday afternoon in front of 84,500 people. The biggest crowd since the women's T20 cricket at the MCG all the way back in March T20. And the biggest AFL crowd since the 2019 AFL Grand Final against Richmond, between Richmond and GWS. We'll kick it off with you, Maddie. Your thoughts on the spectacle and how good it was to have a big full crowd at the MCG.
Yeah, well, obviously it's one of the biggest, celebrations across the year before finals, is ANZAC Day, and obviously it was a really, really close game, so that was befitting of the occasion. And yeah, everyone came out in force. It was really, really good to see the MCG packed like that again, and they got more of a spectacle than they got last time that it was packed that much with the Richmond GWS game. But yeah, footy's back.
Kristen, this ANZAC Day is pretty special for so many people off the field, but in particular for the players on it. There was, I think, 13 players in total playing their first ever ANZAC Day game. How did you find the spectacle, and what a great opportunity for those 13 players playing their first ANZAC game in their career?
Yeah, it's one of those games where, not having a horse in the race as such, you're still always glued to the TV. And, I'm not usually one to tune into the pre-match stuff because it's kind of the same conversation we see every week, but that's the moment that you can't miss that, and the build up for that game is just something that we don't see any other time, and it's a really special moment where I think everybody there gets to stop and reflect and pause on what the day means as a whole. And yeah, looking back at some of the stories from past players and past coaches, you can see how that's sort of pushed onto some of the younger players as well, and you can see really how much it means to those clubs to participate in the day, and that I think helps make it special as well. And I loved the game yesterday. It was, I think, far closer than I was sort of expecting it to be, and that just makes it even sweeter because it's one of those games where you've got like 90,000 people there. I know it was a little bit less, but it doesn't matter what call gets made, like there's always such a big roar, so no one's ever really happy, and I think all of that just put it all together, and I just cannot wait to actually get to one year.
Yeah, I think it's a bucket list item for a lot of footy fans. And Gratz, your team was starting at 12 o'clock, Sydney versus Hawthorn in Tasmania. How did you find that spectacle? And in particular, 2 games on ANZAC Day would have been a bit odd considering Monday, a long
absolutely.
weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, I was tuning straight into watch the Swans play, right? And there was, it was no less special. The commemorations were as is normal on ANZAC Day, and I was just sitting there, just watch the Swans get the victory, right? But then it was no question. It was straight over to Channel 7, straight onto the Essendon versus Collingwood broadcast. And I think I got there in the middle at the start of the minute silence, and 84,000 people, and you could hear a pin drop. It's the most eerie spectacle you'll ever see on the AFL calendar, and it's honestly the best outside of finals.
Yeah, I 100% agree, and it was great to have, just sitting there, and you almost feel like you're there when you're watching the start of the ceremony. In the minute silence, you're almost like you're silent at home. You're almost listening out to see if you can hear someone speaking or someone yell out. But there was nothing yesterday, and I think the crowd has become so respectful of that over recent years, because I know a lot of people used to get their 2 cents in that moment, which sucked a little bit, but it was great to see that play out. And the spectacle, as you mentioned, Christian, it was a magnificent game, and the GoPro man himself, Jack Ginnivan, standing up with 5 goals. Unlikely to win the ANZAC medal.
Yeah, I wasn't really expecting that either, but every time, I thought that he sort of had done his bit, he sort of popped up again, and he was sort of a bit of a radar in getting Collingwood across. And I think, well deserved in the end to get the medal, because when you talk about the ANZAC spirit, he really did help Collingwood get over the line in the end.
Yeah, 100% agree. Maddie, Darcy Parish obviously getting 40-odd touches. I think 40 of those were handballs as well. Probably not as effective, but I would have thought he was definitely in the conversation for the medal.
Dare I say, if Essendon got over the line, he was probably there, but it always goes to the winner. And good job, good game by Ginnivan, who's obviously had his critics as of late, and silenced them in the right way.
And Gratz, I think of certain people on social media would have been a little bit on edge, considering Ginnivan won the medal.
Yeah, obviously, he's been the man on everybody's lips from a Collingwood perspective so far this year. But the kid can play, and the kid stood up on the biggest stage of them all. I mean, he kicked 5 goals. I'm pretty sure that's a personal best for his short career. Got the Rising Star nod, and I was discussing with my friend, people here at the Sanctum, right, that if Collingwood won, there was no chance he was not getting the ANZAC medal. Such was his impact. Gin definitely blossomed on this day.
Oh, that's very good by you. Just one question. I know Sydney played Hawthorn in Tasmania. It was great to have 2 games on the day, because I think having that public holiday Australia-wide, having everyone come together, watching 2 games of footy and celebrate what is a special day. Should the day, though, be reserved for that one particular game of Essendon versus Collingwood, or are you happy to share it around? Maddie, let's kick it off with you.
I haven't got a horse in this race, but I actually didn't mind the double header. And then also some people flick over to the NRL because they've obviously got their ANZAC game. So I just figure you make a bit of a day out of it and have it on.
Kristen, your thoughts?
I can say that I tuned in for all 3 because there was, it's a public holiday, and I think it was nice to see some other, like the other teams be a part of it as well. But at the same time, I do sort of agree that I think the spectacle is that it's that one big game on the day, and I guess it depends on the market and the market share for it, really.
Yeah, I think the viewership for both games was actually pretty high, and also for the NRL too. So, case for both sides. Gratz, your thoughts?
Yeah, the spectacle of ANZAC Day at the MCG will never be equaled or topped. So, I'm all for having extra games on the day, right? Because this isn't something that will be taken away from Essendon and Collingwood. Like I said, I was straight over to the Channel 7 coverage to watch the game, as I'm sure a few people would have been, and I'm sure just as many people would have been straight over to the NRL as well.
Yeah, I think I like having the day of it. If ANZAC Day falls on a Sunday or a Saturday, you're going to have that main attraction of Essendon versus Collingwood, but everyone else should have the opportunity to at least get to play on Anzac Day. And just quickly, I'd like to mention Port Adelaide. No more Owen, so sucked into everyone that has to delete Owen from their dictionary on their phone. So get that up here. But that was good. So it was a good weekend of Anzac Day footy, and we move into someone else that picked up a very special award. Not only did Jack Ginnivan win the Anzac Day medal, but Paddy Mills won the NBA Sportsmanship Award. And we can just tell Gratz, he is the man of the people. He's one of the best sportsmen in the world, and he thoroughly deserves this.
Absolutely. Paddy Mills has always been a champion of Australian basketball. He's been more than serviceable over in the NBA. He's played a key role in Australia's first Olympic medal and at Tokyo, and he was nominated for Australian of the Year this year for the importance of his work. And he's just so likable and humble and proud of his Indigenous heritage, and he truly is a role model for Australia to be proud of.
Kristen, your thoughts on Paddy Mills and the impact he's having on young Australians?
Absolutely incredible. He is the role model everybody would look for as a kid and as a parent as well. That's the sort of person that you want your kids to look up to. When you watch him play basketball, he doesn't backchat, he doesn't do any of that. He keeps himself cool, calm and collected and respectful to the refs as well, which I think plays a part in him getting the award, but also what he does here with his work with Indigenous Basketball Australia. I know they had their tournament not too long ago, and they help support kids if they've got an interest in basketball, just not just on the court, but also off the court, and what they want to do and where they can take their careers. So he's just one of those people that I think just wants the world to be a better place, and he fully deserves this trophy 100%.
Maddie, I don't know. I'm not a massive basketball fan. Obviously, everyone knows of Paddy Mills, but is Paddy Mills like getting the Sportsmanship Award, and not only for the NBA, but also for being one of the better Australians you'll see? Is his part in basketball now bringing these kids and showcasing what they can be, not only in the NBL, but the NBA and Australia in general as a sportsman?
Well, yeah,
or
for sure.
sportswoman, in fact, as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's transcended like not only like Australian sport, but he's just everyone. Even if you're not into sport, you know who Paddy Mills is. He's just made that much of an impact. So there was 300 voting, and he got 20% of the first place votes. So they put him as their first pick. So that's just ridiculous to think, sheer scale, the amount of people that actually across the league that voted for him. As Thomas said, what else can you say about Paddy Mills? He's just such a down-to-earth human being, and he just does whatever he can with his profile to really elevate other people.
Is he the first Australian to win the NBA Sportsmanship Award?
I would say so. Yeah, I think so, because he's one of the players that's sort of been around for such a long tenure as well. And one of the fun facts that I actually read about him today was that he's only ever had 2 technical fouls in his regular season games. So in his 13 seasons in the NBA, 11 of those years, he has not had a technical foul. Now that's massive. As someone who played basketball as a kid and actually was playing church basketball and copped a warning once for saying shit when they lost, when they missed a foul shot, that's actually really impressive. So that speaks in volumes, the sort of person that he is and his personality, I think.
That's incredible. Saying shit in the basketball court and getting the technical foul. That's one way to go about it. I actually got told off on the footy field on the weekend for saying multiple F words. So fair play to him. Speaking of F words, I think a few Wildcats fans would have been saying a bit of expletives across the weekend because they're not playing playoffs for the first time in 36 years. I think you were saying, Kristen, 1986.
Yep. 1986 was the beginning of the streak. So to lose that, I mean, of course it's going to hurt, but at the same time, like you can't really be that angry, can you? Like it's one of the biggest records for finals across world sport. So you've got to give everybody else a piece of the pie, I think, if you're a Perth fan, and just be happy that you've had a streak for that long.
Yeah, I know. If Port Adelaide went through that 36 years of making finals in the AFL, I'd be absolutely over the moon. For that streak to come undone, I'd be a little bit pissed, but you know what? Give everyone else a turn. And Gratz, the Jack Jumpers for the first time making the playoffs.
I think it was very amusing to me to see Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, who were playing the Wildcats, develop a sort of banter between them and the Jack Jumpers, because they both wear green, and it was very amusing to hear them just have that casual rapport. And also, I think the best moment for me this weekend was seeing the Jack Jumpers players. It all gathered together to watch the Phoenix overcome the Wildcats, and just that elation, that joy on their faces when they knew they would be playing in the playoffs in their very first season. I mean, this is what you play sport for.
100%. You know, what a story, Maddie. You know, can they do any damage? How far can they go?
Oh, I mean, no one really picked them, apart from Dom, I think, picked them to make the playoffs. And I mean, they can do anything. If you're not expected to do anything, you've got nothing to lose. And I know for sure, I'll definitely be on the Jack Jumpers bandwagon. So yeah, let's hope so.
Yeah, look, I'm not a big NBL fan. As I said, I don't watch much basketball. For a tall fella, that's quite surprising. But I will be jumping on the Jack Jumpers for this year. So excuse the pun on that one. I don't want any DMs, Gratz. So it's been a massive whip around. But Maddie, you did raise LJ just before. Your thoughts quickly?
Yeah, there's not much to say about LJ. She's just a goat, and I love the acknowledgement from Erin Phillips about how good her game was, and it's just one goat acknowledging another.
Yeah, well, hopefully that one goat comes across to the other side. So it'll be interesting to see how that all pans out in the off season. Any final thoughts before we head off, Gratz?
I would just like to say, as a United supporter, I will be literally the only person not supporting the Jack Jumpers in the playoffs. So ready to crush some dreams. It'll be fun. I hate my life.
Look forward to deleting you on multiple Slack chats. Kristen, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I'll be on the Jack Jumpers bandwagon, I think, but I'll probably more be around the Kings. If anybody happened to catch the dramatic few minutes of the Hawks and Kings game the other night, we are in for a cracking series with those guys. So I'm pretty excited about that. And other than that, yeah, if you've got any spare time during the week, have a look at the Margaret River Pro over in WA. There's some really great surfing going on there, and a few Aussies trying to make the cut for the rest of the tour. So that's what I'll be up to this week.
Beautiful. Maddie, any final thoughts as well?
Yeah, since we're talking about footy teams, just fantastic to see Hatchie committing to the best AFLW team so far. Just had to throw that in there.
For now, there's season 21-22 coming about, so I look forward to 21-22, 22-23. I'm living in the glory days, in the days when Port Adelaide actually won games of football.
Hey, come on, Ant. You won last weekend.
And boy, did we win. Let me tell you, it was good to see. But yeah, that's another edition of the Whip Around. Make sure you check out Thomas, Kristen, and Maddie's fantastic work on the Sanctum, and also everyone else's pieces and everything on cross social media and on YouTube as well. There's on a pod with Hutto. That's out with Tommy Logan, so check that out too. Thank you so much for listening and watching this week's edition of the Wednesday Whip Around. We'll see you next time.